I received this message from Preston at 6:30 a.m. on the 27th of August. He beautifully expressed the turmoil of the dark night of the soul that he is experiencing in his awakening and healing process. He has given me full permission to share his process and experiences of our time working together with you all. I feel like a pot of boiling water. Like all the traumatic experiences that I can remember over the course of my life are rising up to the top like vegetables in a soup. And you see it for a moment as the rolling water causes it to surface, then it disappears and another rolls up. I'm not able to hold focus on it, to do anything with it. Stuff that I have pushed down for years that I didn't know how to deal with. I, as a rule, am a pretty positive, upbeat, acting character, and I have trusted at least surfacely that the universe was going to take care of me. But I now have to admit I have been living in sheer survival mode my whole life. The chaos inside is more than I can hold down anymore. Normally, if I'm dealing with something internally, I can look at my outside life and rationalize that it's not that bad and have gratitude about the good things. The reverse has been true as well. If I was having a shitstorm on the outside and things were falling apart, I was able to maintain an internal peace knowing things would work out eventually. Right now, I am in a hurricane inside, trying to hold on to a pole while all my shit flies around me, and at the same time, the most chaotic circumstances of my life and the people I am in relationships with from every walk of my life, from my coworkers to my family, are like a tornado of what the fuck. It's like everything I am connected to inside and outside is falling apart. I'm trying to stay focused and strong and hold on, but I've lost my anchor to myself and I'm barely holding on. I've been this way for a while. I have lost my way and I can't find my way back. I know we are going to talk soon, but I woke up to this and I wanted to get it out before I lost it in the chaos of my life. I had a brief moment of clarity and I felt the need to share it with you. I apologize for messaging you this early. I'm just trying to keep from losing my mind. This is the message that I had received. This is what led to everything that you are about to see in the rest of this video for Preston coming to South Florida and partaking in his own private plant medicine ceremony using psilocybin. So I hope that you enjoy the rest of this video and that it serves as a wonderful learning experience for all of you. Thank you so much for watching. All right. Hi, how are you? Do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Preston from Pennsylvania.
How old are you, Preston?
48.
Okay. And what are you here for today?
Well, internally I've lost connection with myself and who I am, and consequently all my life is falling apart. And I believe in the universe's guidance, and I believe I was sent here to get whatever it is I need to get today.
Okay, so you're here for a plant medicine ceremony.
I am.
Have you ever done plant medicine before?
Nothing even close.
Okay. And how are you feeling about embarking on this journey?
I hate everything about it. I have so much anxiety. I don't want to give up the parts of me that are strong inside because I relate to them. So yeah, I'm not having a good day.
Okay. Okay. And what are your intentions moving forward for today? What do you hope to get out of all of this?
I'm hoping to reconnect with that part of me that I've lost so that I don't have to rely on everybody and everything around me to feel safe and secure.
Okay.
I'm very codependent, and I don't want to be.
Okay. And can you find those parts in yourself to love and accept those pieces and not reject them anymore?
I'm hoping with the plant medicine that I can.
Okay.
If I could do it on my own, I wouldn't be here.
All right. All right. You ready to do this?
Nope, but let's do it anyway.
All right. Let's do it, darling. That's how it is. That's how it is. That's how it is.
So, you want to ask me a question, or you just want me to?
No, just go ahead.
All right. So, if you're seeing this, you're probably seeing part 2 of when I first started here, and this is the after journey. And I'm going to tell you right now that it was not easy. And I really, really, really fought the medicine. And until this morning, I couldn't even really process a lot of what took place. But I'm going to go back and forth between what was happening yesterday, why I'm here, and what I got out of it to this point. It's a ball of yarn that's unraveling inside of me, and I know I can see it, and there are parts I'm going to get stuck on. And I can see those parts. They're like lit up red flames that are like I'm going to get hooked there, and my mind's going to go crazy until I unravel that part. But yesterday when I got here, I came at a spiritual crisis moment in my life because I didn't know what was happening with a particular relationship and how the relationship was so fucking vitally important, but at the same time had nothing to do with me, but was reflecting every part of me in every way that I couldn't explain. And most of that came out during the session. But initially when I got here, I was chaos. I was like just raging on the inside. And I got the medicine and I couldn't get into it. It was like, I don't know if it wasn't enough. I don't know what it was, or I was fighting so hard. And then I got like a second dose, and I'm going to be completely honest, I wanted to fight that. And I don't know if this is normal and if this is even a correct statement, but I fought to actually get into the medicine. I actually had to fight into it because I didn't want to. So my struggle yesterday was not, this medicine's taking over and I'm fighting what's happening. I had to fight to deal with this shit because I did not want to. So when it finally took over, I was able to start releasing things. And initially when Christine started working with me on the table, when we first started, the medicine hadn't fully embraced me yet. And things were starting to come up prior to even taking it. So you can say the medicine is a magic pill. It is to an extent. It helps release things. But if you're not already doing that work to begin with and causing that shit to come up, I don't know what the medicine will do for you if you do get it. It could just be a trip. It could just be a bad experience. I think you have to incorporate something in your life at the same time. And I'm only giving you my perspective of what I feel like happened with me. On the plane here, I had what I call a vision. I don't see things outside of myself. I don't see things too often. Maybe 4 times in my life I can count where something actually was, whoa, that's like there. Not on medicine, but just like that's there. But in a moment on a plane on the way here, I saw myself laying in a similar position to where this is at here. And this demon, and for lack of a better word, you call it energy, you call it whatever you want. That's how I represent, that's how I call what it was inside of me. In this particular vision, this demon came up into Christine's face. And it says, I'm here. Something to the effect, I'm here, and there's nothing you can do about it, yada, yada. I don't remember the exact words, but it was there in her face. And I knew it was there, and I could tell it had no power. And it was almost as if Christine went, no problem, and it left. And I knew at that moment it was my need to be vulnerable. I don't know how to explain this because this may be counterintuitive, there's a part of us we need to be strong. There's a part of inside of us where we need to take our own shit and do it. There's also an opposite end where you gotta trust and let somebody else do it. And there's a fine line between putting your life in someone's hands and also taking your own strength. And it was in those moments that you have to trust somebody. And that's the hardest part for somebody like me who, when I get into it, I'll deal with why I don't trust people, to let somebody else do that. And in the beginning, when Christine started working on me, there were some sexual fears that I had. I can't say for certain if I was sexually abused. That never came up. I can tell you I feel violated bodily. I don't know if it was sexually. I don't know that that's even important, but something took place in my childhood. It comes back to a crib situation that I can't fully grasp or comprehend. But when Christine was working on my lower stomach, where I actually have, what do you call it, the psoas? There's something with that, and I've been having issues here down to my groin. And she wasn't in my pants. She was not doing anything negative at all. And her friend that does this with her was in the room, and I didn't feel anything negative coming from Christine, but I was having thoughts that I don't want this to turn sexual. I don't want this to be a bad experience, because I've read and heard that people take advantage of people under medicine. So I said it, I shared it, and I didn't accuse or blame or project. It was just, this is what's coming up. So Christine backed off. We got back into a different position, and then slowly I started sharing more with her. So she went back to working on that after asking permission, and we worked on that area again. Through the hours that this took place, my initial response was, get the fuck away. I didn't want to be touched. I don't like to be touched. There's something just very off-putting with people touching me. I'm good with one person that maybe I call my lover touching me, and I'm okay with just about anything there, but for the most part, I'm a very standoffish person. And so it's funny because a lot of my beliefs and a lot of the things that I struggle with are about having relationships with other people other than your significant other. And being able to fully embrace somebody else while having a significant other and communicating and connecting with them is a struggle for me. And that's a lot of control issues that I'll get into maybe later. But the unique thing was, as Christine backed off, let me have my space, we worked together. She didn't do it for me, and I didn't do it on my own. There was a push, pull, a play, back and forth, a tide, a wave. I don't know what you call it, the ebb and the flow of this. And maybe my background in sort of modalities and understanding some of this helped. Maybe it hindered. I don't know, because maybe I tried to control a little bit too much of it. And maybe somebody coming in here that doesn't have the background that I do would not control some of it as much. It's hard to say, but whatever it is, and that's what took place. But as we progressed, and I ended up in this space in her bedroom here on this little, whatever she calls it, it went from, I'm scared to have you touch me, to almost holding her hand and drawing her in closer as we were doing this. My body language changed, and I was perceptive of that. Even though at that moment I was giving into the medicine a little bit more, it was kind of in and out of experiences. My body was drawing her in and holding her hand and pulling her closer, not sexually. It has nothing to do with that whatsoever. And ironically, even though a lot of the issues are mother issues, it wasn't even like a mother thing. It was just somebody holding space is what it felt like. There was no connection to a relative. There was no connection to a person. There was no connection to Christine. It was someone holding space while I processed. And I think that's probably one of the most important things in this, is if you get somebody that does this with you, they aren't involved in your life. They are just holding space for you to process. And that's hard sometimes, to just be disconnected. And it's also hard to stay out of your own head sometimes, because there were moments where Christine's a beautiful person, but there are times too that her own parts can get in here, her own fears, her own things can get in. And you got to work through that with somebody. Nobody's perfect. There are issues that get triggered even in these types of sessions. And I have discernment. I have seeing gifts. I can see things too. And I could tell sometimes when it was a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but I had to put a lot of that shit down to say, this person's a human being. She is. And so she has to work through her own shit while she's working with my shit. And it's a fun give and take in these relationships. I also, and I bring that up not to point a finger, I bring that up to say that I'm the same as her. And so it's hard for me to step back and not want to give you an example, there was trees being cut around the house and Christine was getting stressed. I was okay with it because I grew up with noise all around me. I was not affected by it, but I could see in her the same frustrations I've had when you want to set the setting so much and you want somebody to get in it so bad and you're like, it's got to be right, it's got to be right, it's got to be right. And I'm like, I almost come out of the medicine to say, Christine, it's okay. And I almost felt that need to go over and comfort her. And I'm like, dude, if I do that, I'm going to fucking miss what I'm here for. So there was the struggle to go back and forth between how do I comfort these two ladies that are in here stressing out? And I'm like, dude, I can't. So yeah, that's what I mean by being able to pick up on both sides. So nobody's perfect. You're not going to get a perfect shaman that's going to take you through these processes. I hope you're okay with that.
Yes, of course.
We all got to call each other out on our shit sometimes.
Totally. The tree noise was just killing me yesterday.
Yes. And I actually had to stay, but that also put me in charge too of my own healing.
Yes.
It helped me reset. So I can't say it was a bad thing because it helped me reset and realize I couldn't just rely on you. There was a point of that needed to be, yeah, she's good, but if you don't assist her in your own healing, you don't get healed. So in case you haven't figured it out, I'm a teacher at heart, and this comes out of the gifting that's already resident within me. And that's why this happens with me. So this is no surprise that this is taking place. So anyway, on the floor, as I was drawing her in and closer, this morning I started getting a little more understanding of some things. We were doing a chakra connection with me, and I believe at the first it was with my mother, and then maybe the person that I'm in a relationship with right now, and we were doing like a chakra type connection internally, and things got triggered like from the root and just started getting up into the sacrals. But in between there is some huge stressors in me, and I have a very bad view of women in relationships. And that has a lot to do with what I had to put up with as a child. And what I learned this morning more than anything is I used to think I had a lot of problems up here. I used to think I had a lot of problems in my heart. Honestly, I don't feel like my heart's closed. I really feel like I'm very open. As a matter of fact, I think I'm open too much sometimes. I'm very sensitive. So the struggle isn't the heart issue. I have a very, very, very bad root. My root this morning was like inflamed, and I could see it. And I drew a picture of like this gnarly ball of flames at the bottom, and everything else was like a straight line. And what was happening on the floor here was bizarre. When I would give into the medicine, and Christine was here, I felt okay. I didn't want her here. But when she left, I felt like a little kid that was abandoned. And I would jump up. Where you at? Where you at? And I would have to tell her something and get her back in here. And I'm like, okay, and I'm struggling with the abandonment issue. I'm struggling with the attachment issue. And I'm struggling with, am I so attached that I'm attaching myself in this moment to Christine to help? Or am I dealing with an abandonment issue? And I was brought back to seeing people. I travel a lot for work, and I see people at gas stations in the middle of the night. And I see my kids do this. And when I ended up in a psych ward at one time, I saw people that don't sleep. And I'm like, why the fuck don't you just go to sleep? Why do you have to be up all night? Why is it you can't just settle? It's like, why did my dad get drunk and just have to get up and be an ornery bastard? I don't understand that. Why don't you just go to bed? Why are you so fucking tormented you can't sleep? And it was like I would lay down and I'd close my eyes and the shit would start coming up, and I didn't want to deal with it. And I'd jump up, Christine, this is happening. Help me process this. I didn't want to deal with it. So I started to understand why the people in the psych ward don't sleep. I started to understand why the people at the gas station don't go home and go to bed. They can't. It's just, they may not be cognitively aware of it, but it just gets racing in your brain. And I never had trouble with that aspect of it. But in the session, it brought that up to the point where it was like in my face. And I have a friend who doesn't sleep that has the same issues. And right now she's like my significant other, my twin flame, so to speak. And I'm like, I don't understand why you can't sleep, why you need all this medication to sleep. And I got to experience that. So Christine would leave and I'd go get her. And I started yelling inside, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. In those moments, I was taken back to the crib. All I can tell you is this is the experience that I saw this morning. Something happened in that stage of my life. I don't know if it was a one incident or multiple incidences, but I saw myself as a baby in a crib, and something didn't make me feel safe. And when you would leave the room, and I didn't know if you were talking about me, I didn't know what was happening, it doesn't matter. I didn't feel safe with what was going on in the other room. So when I'm in this relationship with this other person and she's not talking to me and there's something going on, I don't feel safe. I can't explain it. Something's happening in that other room. I don't know if there were horrible fights. I don't know what it was in my childhood, but something took place in another room that I do not feel safe. When we were staring at the mirror, you asked me what it is about that person. I don't feel safe in this body. I don't feel safe in this body. There's something that took place in my childhood that does not make me feel safe. So it's not a matter, do I hate the person in the mirror? No, I don't feel safe with that person. And I don't know, that's the unraveling of this. This is where I'm at this moment. Is something's in my root, something's unsafe. And I have to take what we've learned in the last 24 hours and process that. There's a lot of other stuff inside of me. But at this moment, that's the big ball of shit that I've got to deal with. Let me see if there was anything else. Oh, yeah. So in that same vein, I realized the boundaries we talked about. And this is big because what I realized was when we did our session and when you were doing the mother part and I said, I need to rest, Mommy, I need to rest. I don't rest. Never rested. I don't rest. I texted Mandy this morning and I said, there's some things we got to talk about with boundaries. I'm sorry. Didn't say her name.
Okay.
Mandy, I love you. But I texted this morning. I said, there's some things we got to talk about with boundaries and stuff like that. And I said, this boy needs a rest. She goes, you don't rest. From the day I've met you, you don't rest. And I don't. And I didn't know why. I don't rest. I don't sleep. Even when I feel like I have to be vigilant all the fucking time. It's like I'm always vigilant. I don't sleep because I don't know who's going to call. I don't know who needs me. I don't know what I got to be protected from. I'm always in protection myself mode. And we were talking this morning on the phone and I'm like texting and I'm like, I just need to rest. And what I saw was this seed and I saw him curl up into a fetal position and get planted in the ground. But the scariest part was, and this is the separation, the scariest part was I need to die. Yes. But I don't know at this moment how to do that and trust that the people that love me are still going to be there when I wake up out of that. And that's the separation part of, can I do this and almost say to her in a sense, you need to let me do this part. And I have to trust that if you are going to be there, you're meant to be there. And if you're not going to be there, I have to accept that. And I know that it doesn't happen overnight. And I know that it doesn't happen in one fail, rip off the Band-Aid. So what I got, and I'll share that after the video goes off because it's the very specifics of what I got. And that's irrelevant to this. I know what it means to have boundaries. And I know I'm learning. I'm in this process of understanding that this boy needs to rest. This boy needs to shut some shit out and deal internally. And you almost cannot do that while you're active. That's right. And taking a 3-day retreat is not the answer. This is going to be a daily process of me having to do this, trust the world's going to be okay. Do this and trust. Do this and trust. At the same time, what I'm really trying to do is connect to this root that's scared to death of being left alone and abandoned. So there's abandonment issues. There's a lot of shit that took place. It's also abuse. It's abandonment mixed with something that scared the shit out of me as a kid. And I don't know where that came in. I don't know specifically if it's just that culmination of all of that. I don't know if it was one trauma or multiple just getting the same shit over and over and over. And again, I don't know that you need to know that at any given moment. Maybe later on down the road, I'll get it revealed for teaching purposes. But for the most part, I know that's the problem. And basically, that's where I'm at. The root chakra needs to be dealt with. I need to feel safe in my own body. I need to let some people go, be themselves. And if they come back, they come back. If they don't, they don't. I also know that I can't be completely shut up in a room by myself anymore for 2 years like I was. This is a relational thing, and that's the hard part, is how do you maintain a relation without the control? How do you let go and be friends and let go and be friends? And that's the turmoil that I will have to unravel inside of me over the next couple of weeks, of how to integrate friendships and people, letting them get close enough to love me, but not holding on to them so tight that I suffocate them, but opening up. So that's where I'm at.
All right.
That's the gist of what I got this morning. So anything you want to add to it, or questions, or that you want me to share that helps people?
That was so amazing. That was so articulate, so you expressed so beautifully.
Integration at its
Integration
finest.
at its finest. This is what we do, and this is why we do it. And this is the first step on a long journey. You have the rest of your life ahead of you. This is your journey. And
I'm
now,
by no means there. This is the beginning.
This is the first step at 48 years old.
Yeah, and that's a lot of
You
untangling.
are untangling ages and lifetimes of shit.
And generational shit that
Yes,
has nothing
exactly.
to do with me, that's been passed down.
Lifetimes and ancestral shit and your own past life shit. And so this is it. This is your pinnacle moment to rise. And you've been given everything you need to take your next steps. The unraveling will come. The integration will continue to come as we continue to work after this retreat. This isn't over now. We know that. Because more and more things are going to be coming to you that'll be processed through all of this. And you have been handed this beautiful gift and you have accepted it with such courage. The things you did yesterday, even in all the resistance, the progression of it all.
Do people have to fight to get in it? Because I had to fight to get in it.
Usually other people will like blast you with more medicine. I knew you had enough medicine.
I struggled.
You struggled, but you got there and you did it. That was the whole point, that I didn't want to have to be the one to go in and force you to do it.
And yet there was the moment I needed you to be the container that held me while I did it. It was
right. Like everything that happened in the bathtub. The whole bathtub thing was fucking crazy. That whole womb process of you rebirthing yourself with me just holding that space for you. You did it. You broke through your resistance. You broke through to the other side. The breakdown brought the breakthrough. And now you're on your path. And you got this. You have everything inside of you now to do this. You got it. And I'm so fucking proud of you. Mm-hmm. So fucking proud of you. Because you were scared shit. When you got here. You were scared.
Yeah, it was tough.
And look at you. Yeah. Look at you.
Took a lot.
There's so much, you're so much more at peace. Mm-hmm. Your face, like everything about you has just come back to center. And the work doesn't stop here, as you said.
And I will say this, it's not an ended process. I do feel at times I can get in my head and I need to be able to get back to bring it back. And so it goes back and forth. It's that get in my head, get out, get in my head, get out. I have to keep regrounding myself, which is the hardest part.
The hardest part, because your root is fucking on fire right now. That's where all your grounding comes from, is your root.
Oh yeah, that, and we didn't get into that, but that's the poop issues. The whole.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the pooping thing. Yeah, that's true. That's part of the big thing that brought you here. As part of it.
Yeah, the whole inability to just process information and losing my shit all the time. Yeah.
And losing your shit all the time.
Yeah, we didn't get into that, but that's another story for another time. But
we can add to that as we integrate more pieces, for sure. So, all right. So I love you, Preston. I thank you so much for embracing all of this, and for your courage and your bravery and your openness.
Thank you.
Mwah. Bye, guys.